Hello, everyone. Dr. Carmen Bryant, Psychological Health Consultants and Services, and my program, Redefining Yourself, a program that was developed for women that are thinking of leaving, needing more education, and those of you that have left domestic violence relationships, specifically narcissist abuse. Even though this program is developed for women, those men that are out there that have also experienced it, is very similar experiences, and so I don't take away from your experiences because those experiences are very similar to the female experience. And so, but this particular program is developed for women that are leaving relationships with men. But please glean from the information because the information is out there for you as well. I just wanted to come in today. First of all, thank you for supporting me. Thank you guys for the comments, the emails, the inboxes, telling me your stories. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Before I start, I just wanted to answer a question by Miss Kim. Kim, you asked a question in reference to people saying that you act like you act like your ex-narc shadow. What does that mean? Good question. I'm not too sure exactly. You may have to rephrase that question. I can say that those people that come out of relationships, narcissistic relationships, you've been in a relationship with a narcissist, you had to adapt to how that narcissist controlled their environment. And when you have to, I use the example a lot of times when and I've had people that I've known that had deaf parents, and they were hearing. So the parents were deaf, but they were hearing. And one of the things that they said is that the parents talked very loud because they couldn't hear. So they had no way of controlling their tone, or they talked very loud, and also the way that they pronounced their words, it was almost it wasn't thorough pronunciation, or it's called enunciation. And she said that you could tell when she speaks, she sounds not that intense, but she sounds similar to a person that would have a hearing impairment. So I always thought that she had, excuse me, I'm sorry, my nose is itching, but she sounded very much like a person that had a hearing impairment. And she says she doesn't have a hearing impairment. She grew up in a home in which there was no boundaries as to the noise that she made in the house. She didn't have parents that told her, hey, quit making all that noise, stop slamming the door, stop stumping, you're walking too heavy, you're talking too loud, whisper. She says she didn't have that to regulate her, so she naturally speaks loud, and when she talks to her parents, she talks very loud. So some people, that tell her that she's very loud, but she grew up in a home like that. So if you have a relationship with a narcissist, whether it was narcissistic parents, whether it was a narcissistic partner or spouse, you had to adjust. It's the trauma bonds, remember? And then remember, the narcissists ruled their homes in complete terror in order to maintain control. And so if you had to live in a home with a tyrant such as the narcissist, excuse me, let me itch my nose. But if you had to live in a home with a tyrant that ruled by control and fear, you had to adjust your behavior. You had to learn how to manipulate to get your needs met. They're manipulating, but you ended up having to manipulate to get your needs met. There were certain things you could say. There were certain things you couldn't say. There are certain, you couldn't really defend yourself like you wanted to defend yourself. And so what happens is a lot of times people will confuse, when people come out of a relationship like that, you have taken upon a lot of their characteristics. And so if you've taken upon a lot of their characteristics, people will assume that you are a narcissist yourself. And a lot of times the survivor, or the person that was battered, or the person that is the survivor of the narcissist abuse that comes out, to include the kids, you've adapted to their language, you have adapted to the way that they think. Remember, they were trying to get you to think like them in the first place, and so you've adapted. So your world has been, the center of attention has been the narcissist. So your whole language and everything about you, a lot of things have been adapted to the narcissist until you begin to learn that that was wrong, completely wrong. And so, Ms. Kim, it could be a possibility that, you have picked up some narcissistic traits. So people can confuse you as being a narcissist, or you have picked up some narcissistic traits because of the fact that, depending on how long you were with the person, you may have picked up some narcissistic traits in order to manipulate or to survive in a household with a tyrant such as the narcissist. And that leads me into today's topic that I just want to talk about really briefly, and is that illusion of perfection. A narcissist lives in this illusion of perfection. A lot of times you see it in the households, and people look, those of us that are aware that the person is a narcissist, the family, remember we were talking about the codependency and how the family has to function around this narcissist. You got the golden child, you got the scapegoat, you got the codependent, you got the enabler, which is, usually the spouse, and the golden child is usually the one that also feeds into the narcissist's ego, so they become the favorite child because they fuel that narcissist ego, that narcissist grandiosity, and so they become the favorite child. The scapegoat is usually that child that is very direct, straightforward, calls out what they see, point out the behavior, and so they usually also become the most abused child in the family. With the enabler, with the partner, they have to play a role in order to feed the fuel, to keep that monster at bay, to keep that tyrant at peace. But a narcissist will never be at peace. They're in complete chaos on the inside of their mind and their emotions, their soul, and so all these family members are having to adjust their life to the center of the attention is the tyrant themselves, the narcissist. But I want you to know this, you look at even those of you that have been discarded and they have connected with new sources of supply. The supply supplies something for them to help them with their image in public. Number one, the image may be, if they're grandiose, covert, narcissist, malignant, somatic, cerebral, all those put together, they have a certain image and illusion they have to maintain in public. The thing about it is the strongest person, usually the appearance of the strongest person, the illusion of the strongest person within the family, the one that holds it all together, is usually the weakest person out of the whole family, which is the narcissist. They're the weakest person in the whole family. If you think about a child, a young child that has no emotional control, has no sense of boundaries, they need discipline, they're going through the terrible twos. You look at a person that's chronologically, tongue twister, chronologically a specific age. However, they're emotionally and I would say mentally at the age of a child. The way that they respond, the temper tantrums that they have, the tyrants that they go on, the terror that they impose, is that as if it's a child having a temper tantrum. The only thing that you're waiting to see is them throw themselves on the floor and rage. It's called the rage, when they're going into a rage to get what they want. Anything that breaks up the illusion of the perfection, they'll go after it 100%. For example, well, you don't know, but I have this habit of saying so I apologize for that. I'm gonna work on that. And I'll probably say it right afterward. The illusion of that perfect family. You have no idea what is going on behind closed doors. If it's a relatively new supply that they have attached to, there's something that they're supplying and they're getting supply from that individual, but it's not usually long lasting. The new source of supply has to keep feeding this narcissist, whether it's, see, there I go, I'm sorry, but whether it's with material things, whether it's imagery, there's a certain image that they have to supply, not supply, but there's a certain image that they have to maintain with public. Remember, when you're dealing with a grandiose narcissist, you're dealing with an individual that has an image to maintain in public, whether it's that image of wealth, connected to wealthy people. When they tell lies, they are compulsive liars. They tell so many lies, and when people get upset at them because they know that they're lying, they become tired. They know that they're lying, but they try to live up to their own lie. If they lie to talk about their material possessions, if they lie to talk about how much they have and what they're getting, and they talk about what they own and the amount of what they own, the cars, the home, the clothes that they have, guarantee you it's probably a facade, unless they're an R&B artist or lawyers that make this money. But somehow or another, this source, this grandiosity, this illusion is being supplied, and guarantee you that the people that are in that close circle, in that family, are being drained to death. They're tired, they're being drained to death, because there is no limit as to what the narcissist will want. The narcissist will go, and they grow bored so easily. So it takes a lot to keep fueling them. The one that's closest to them, which is usually the main source of supply, has to keep feeding this titanic fuel, coal, wood. Eventually, you're going to run out of fuel, coal, and wood. But the narcissist, usually when that, remember we were talking about the brand new car feeling. And I told everyone to take a moment and think about when you got that brand new car, that new leather smell. You know, you drove by windows to look and see what you look like in the car. You took pictures of the car, took pictures, selfies by the car. You washed it. It was a clean car. Now the car's sitting out in the parking lot is dirty and dusty, got food all over the seats, you know. But that feeling that you had when you first got that brand new car, that is the feeling that that source of supply has to keep feeding to the narcissist in order for the narcissist to stay, or the narcissist to award them with love and nice words and a calm atmosphere. But trust you me, that fire is going to burn low, and you're going to have to feed that fuel back to that narcissist. 9 times out of 10, I guarantee you, especially if they still have some youth and health to them, they've already connected to additional sources of supply. They always have a feeling that you're going to leave them. They always have that fear of abandonment. Always. Number one, they know how horrible they are. They won't admit to it, but they know how horrible they are. But they always have a fear that you're going to leave them or abandon them. So they'll do things to try to lock you in to make it harder for you to leave. For example, having children or having a lot of children, or financially locking you into these large investments, expensive homes, expensive cars, large investments, anything that gets your money connected with them to make it hard for you to leave, to make it hard for you to separate and move on away from them. They have to find a way to connect you some kind of way. You know, like I said, to make it hard for you to leave. Children, there's still a way to connect through the children. Properties, finances, your bank accounts, high bills. They have more bills than they have money most of the time, but they still maintain this illusion in front of people that they're doing. And a lot of times they'll take credit for all the things that you're doing. They've convinced you to put your money all out there, put your bank account out there, put your soul, put everything out there, but they'll brag about what they've done for you. And a lot of times the person that's on the receiving end of that is like, yeah, he's a great guy, she's a great girl. But when you really step back and look, it's you that's actually doing all that. So if they leave, it's you that's actually going to maintain all that. It's you that did that. It's not them. But they take the credit for it. They like to connect to people and then say we and I and us and our, when in actuality, they didn't play a part in that. Even if they played a part in that, maybe by signature, but then they're going to convince you that they're the ones doing this for you. I'm doing this for you because I care for you and I want you to have the best, and I always want, but really it's you that's forking out the money, it's you that's forking out the time, it's you that's investing. But the enabler, usually they get a glimpse of, I think I've made a mistake, but I'm going to try to correct this. I know things can get better. Or if they realize they made a mistake, sometimes the narcissist has pulled them in so far that it's very complicated to leave. Then they have an image they maintain too, depending on what position they hold in society, what their friends have said to them. Sometimes becomes embarrassing and very shameful, where they're going to keep up the facade. And that's what that narcissist wants. He wants you to keep up that facade, that illusion. But it's an illusion of perfection. If you can go behind closed door, you can be a fly on that wall, I guarantee you'll find out that what you see is not everything that glitters. Everything that shines is not gold. Sometimes the grass is not greener on the other side. It's astroturf. It's not real grass. And so sometimes when you've got locked into it, the problem is you don't know how to get out of it, because it's shameful. Remember, you're shameful. How did I end up in a situation like that? Why didn't I see the red flags? The red flags were there. You just ignored it, The red flags, I tell people all the time, when you've been traumatized, especially you've been traumatized in certain areas of your life, you become very sensitive, very keen to tones, pitches, facial expressions, body language, how people do business. You start watching people, and you have to watch that because you can be overbearing. You can go overboard with it, where you're mistaking someone as being, firm, as being abusive. You may confuse someone with being having boundaries and telling you no and being very stern with you as being abusive. And so it takes time to heal from that. That's why I encourage people, when you come out of an abusive situation, whether it's narcissist abuse or abuse in general, it's not time to jump right back into another relationship. You're walking around bleeding. You're walking around with deep, not even flesh wounds. You're dealing with muscle wounds. You've got, gaping wounds when you come out of this relationship. And how can you connect to another person and you're bleeding all over the place? You connect with another person, you don't know whether you're going to connect with another narcissist or not, or maybe someone that's even worse than the narcissist, psychopath, sociopath, if the narcissist is not one himself or herself, but you got gaping wounds, and now the wounds are going to be infected. They don't even heal right. And so you constantly are jumping back and forth into relationships with these wounds that are wide open that haven't even healed yet. And so you have a misunderstanding, and most people do come from dysfunctional homes. And so you never had a clear example of what a good relationship was supposed to be, a relationship that was respectful on both ends, that, mom was respectful to dad, dad was respectful to mom, or however the relationship is. Most people come out of dysfunctional homes, so they don't have an example to abide by or to live by. You watch a lot of times you can watch people that may have good relationships but at the same time you won't believe it. You won't believe it because of what you've witnessed, and so you've never seen a good relationship, so it's hard to believe that anybody can have a good relationship. Then is there such thing as a perfect relationship? Absolutely not. There's a person that's perfect for you, and then you're perfect for a person, but there is no such thing as perfect people and a perfect relationship. A relationship is about trust, is about love, is not a feeling. That's why the Greeks came up with different definitions of love. Here in the United States, we use love and we throw love around carelessly. I love you, girl, I love you. Ooh, boo, I love you. Baby, I love you. Hey, sweet pea, mama loves you, or daddy loves you. I really love, I'm so in love with you. We use that word and we throw that word out carelessly. Greeks came up with the words that described, each love that they were referring to, such as Eros. Eros is that exotic, lustful love. I just want to have sex with you. That's the kind of love that I have for you, a lustful sex, driven type of love. Or phileo, I think it's phileo, which is a brotherly, brotherly love. You're my sister, you're my girl, you're my boy, your family, you're my brother. Phileo, you have the agape, which is a general love, general love for people. The general love that I have for people that come in for counseling, so each one of the loves described, exactly what they were talking about. But that term love, people are quick to throw it around. And a narcissist already knows if you're broken and bleeding all over the place, they'll become that very definition that you need at that particular time. And then we talk too much. So ladies, when you start telling a guy about, I've never been sexually gratified, or I've never had anybody respect me, or I've never had anybody that had anything, I always had to struggle to do this, that, and this, you're giving them information on how to play the role with you. And I said that in another video. You're giving them information on what to be and how to be. That you're giving them the script to the illusion and how to be an illusion to get you. So the representative is there to pull you in, and now they're going to create an illusion to their family, to their friends, to society, especially, remember, if they're very grandiose, malignant, somatic type narcissists, they have to create this illusion. But ladies, gentlemen, guarantee you can see some red flags, and what you see, eventually that picture starts falling apart. Now keep in mind that as that picture starts falling apart and people start standing up for themselves, even if it's in public, be prepared that they will be abused. The narcissist will slip up. That narcissistic injury where you pop that bubble and made them look bad in public or around people, you believe you me, that person is going to be punished, whether it's in public in front of people, the public humiliation, or if it's in private, whether it's children or their partners. Be prepared. So remember, everything that sparkles is not gold. Everything that shines is not gold. Everything, grass is not greener on the other side. Sometimes you're dealing with astroturf on the other side. Heal before you try to connect with someone. Take the time to be by yourself. That's the biggest problem. Those that get out of relationships that are not comfortable with being by themselves are the ones that get right back into a big old mess, and you wonder how you got right back with another narcissist. Guarantee you probably have some narcissists in your life, and each one of them that you get with is going to get worse and worse and worse. So hopefully you have gotten something out of this today, breaking the illusion, that narcissist and that illusion, the illusion that they live by. Hopefully you got something out of that, for today, Miss Kim. Hopefully I was able to answer the question. If I didn't answer the question, satisfactory, please email me or post on YouTube to clarify the question you were asking. Hopefully I answered that question. Thank you guys so much for viewing my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for liking my videos, talking to me, emailing me, inboxing me, telling me and sharing your stories. For those of you that are bold enough, that don't have a problem with speaking publicly, meaning to post on my YouTube channel, please share your experiences and let other people know if you want to. Don't share your experiences in detail. What I'm saying is, make a comment, make a comment, say something, say something about your experiences if you want to, and if it's safe to do so. If it's not safe to do so, please don't. Be careful at the comments that you write too, especially if you have narcissists that watch the videos, or you may suspect are watching the videos. Be careful what you post on there, because they can use those things against you. Remember, anything that you say can be used against you when it comes to a narcissist, especially if you have children, or if you're in a court or legal situation. They can take what you post and they can make it into anything they want to. That's where that slander comes in. That's where that smear campaign comes in. They take your post, they take whatever you say. So be careful what you say when you post in public. But please, I ask you to share the videos with someone, because this may help someone. You don't know what situation that they're in. They're living in shame. They're living in embarrassment. You're trying to help them. You're trying to help them recover. The hardest part is the discard and them no longer being with the narcissist. They're going through their grief and loss process. So be patient with them. It takes a little while. Be supportive. Talk to them. Share the videos, with people, and ask them to view the videos. There's a hotline that I gave out the other day. I'll go back and give it to you again. And it's one is the domestic violence hotline. So for those of you that are wanting more information and to ask questions in reference to whether or not you are in a domestic violence situation, they have some really excellent domestic violence advocates. I know one personally. I talk to her all the time. It's a friend of mine who is in the Seattle area, the King County area in Washington State, and she really has some really awesome information. She allows me to pick her brain and ask her a lot of questions, and I really honor that. And for some of you that don't have that, available to you, I want you to call the National Domestic Violence Hotline. It's 1-800-799-SAFE. It's 1-800-799-7233. I gave another number out, but there are a lot of numbers, but this is the National Domestic Violence Hotline. It's 24 hours. Well, I take it back. Hold on. Nope, this one is available 24 hours, 365 days a year. They have bilingual advocates on hand. Well, if you don't speak the English language very well and you prefer to speak in your language, you can call and ask questions. And it's you don't have to let anyone know. Erase the number from your phone. Make sure you delete it. They also have a chat line. Let me look at the chat line. If you want to text, for those of you that are in the situation where you fear that the person may be monitoring your telephone, I wouldn't advise that. But if that's something that you would like to do, let's look here. Okay, you have to go online for the chat. And the online site is www.thehotline.org, and then they have live chats where you can chat back and forth. And the national hotline, which is 1-800-799-7233 or 1-800-799-SAFE. And then also for those of you that may be concerned for yourself or for your children when it comes to sexual abuse, and you may see signs, or you're curious about signs, and you need to speak to someone, there's a national hotline. The online site is www.rain, which is RAINN.org, and it is the National Sexual Assault Hotline, and that number is 1-800-656-HOPE, 1-800-656-4673. They have trained staff that can give you information about sexual assault service providers in your area, but even just to ask questions. You can be anonymous. You don't have to, it's confidential. You don't have to tell them who you are, but if you need to ask questions, please, I encourage you to go to those sites or call those numbers to get help. I can only do so much, but I can provide you with information. I can provide you with education to tell you what it is you're going through, but I'm only one person providing you with that information. There are other people that are on YouTube that are excellent life coaches that also talk about the topic. You have Miss Angie Atkinson, you have Mr. Quinn Holiday on Associate Direct, you have Miss Melanie Tanya Evans, you have Sarah Speaks, you have Kim Saeed. There's some more on there that I watch. Very excellent, information to help you in your situation, to get you more information. So once again, thank you so much for viewing. Thank you so much for watching. Share the videos. If you're getting this on Facebook, you can go to my professional Facebook site, Psychological Health Consultants and Services, or you can also go to my YouTube channel, and I encourage you, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, so that you can, be alerted whenever I upload a new video, and that is at Dr. Carmen Bryant with a T, Dr. Carmen, CarmenBryant, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. And share that as well. If you want to email me, my email address is Dr. Carmen Bryant, so drcarmenbryant@outlook.com. You are more than welcome to email me at any time. And as I continue to say, just give me a little time. I'm putting together I am a licensed mental health counselor here in the state of Washington, but I am also a certified life coach. I'm also a certified clinical trauma professional. So this is what I do. This is what I study. I enjoy studying this, and I'm also a survivor of narcissist abuse. So not only am I professional, deal with people in a clinical setting, dealing with abuse and assault, I also work with the YWCA in the areas. I do go and speak. I'm honored because my friend invites me to come speak. And I have an invitation to come and speak to a group. So I do advocate, I do educate, I do the videos, and I advocate for the women. So this is not just from personal experience, this is also for professional experience and training. And so I love to educate. So thank you once again for joining me. And please go to my YouTube channel or go to my Facebook page and like the videos, make a comment, let me know these are helping you. Or if there's someone that needs help, contact me, email me, and give me your stories, give me a comment, ask me questions so I can do more videos. And I appreciate you guys. Go, and as my friend always say, go and be great.